Alright guys, let's start this one from the news happening in Kupiansk direction. As you may see on military map, Ukraine tries to cut Russian supplies towards Golubivka village, and also Ukraine tries to assault from another side. I was almost sure that Ukrainian military command wouldn't try to conduct those kind of the operations because they're very risky, and unfortunately Ukraine has losses while performing this kind of attack. But the command decided to send our guys to this bottleneck. It's very risky operation because Russians already moved a substantial amount of the forces in this area, and they're capable actually to trap Ukrainian army in attempt to cut Russian supplies towards Golubivka. So I would like to say, okay, this is the nice move, Russians will cut Russian supplies, but we don't know the outcome of this specific operation yet. What we know that Ukraine has losses because it was located, geolocated and confirmed with the drone cameras. So let me show you. So this is the interactive map from the MyCo73 analytic. Definitely Ukraine propelled forward, but there are no any sort of the villages to actually dig down to the ground or to create the robust bridgehead. So Ukrainian forces has to move towards Golubivka village, and also from this side there is the river, so it's not an easy thing for Ukrainian army to cross it. It was very thin for a very long time actually the last months, but then Russia expanded it, and I would say it's already too late to cut it with this limited amount of the forces. And unfortunately Ukraine here used some sort of the Russian tactics. A couple of the vehicles were converted into those Mad Max looking style vehicles. You can see lots of the wires on top, but Russia sent many of the drones and they were capable to stop Ukrainian vehicles on the way. Later on the Ukrainian infantry landed, and unfortunately there were losses. I saw the full video, I cannot show you it here. I'll probably share it on my Telegram channel. So because there are no any tree lines, nothing, just open environment, there were losses for Ukraine. So after all, this attack was not successful, absolutely, and I wonder why Ukraine used the Russian tactics out here. It is vivid and evident that if you use armored vehicles to propel forward on enemy-controlled territory, by drones controlled, by infantry control, doesn't matter. You'll be targeted. It's a very good target. And it doesn't matter how you may protect those vehicles, with those hangars, with wires. Enemy will have enough drones to stop everything. Yeah, it's very pity that Ukraine also has losses. It's a war. But whoever was in charge of this operation is really a stupid commander, because our guys repeated what Russians did in Chasiv Yar, maybe with less forces, 2 of the vehicles instead of bigger convoy. But it's just one-way ticket. They go, they've been kaputted. For what? What's the reason? Yeah, this is very strange. Ukraine has so much experience and still making those mistakes. I'm frustrated because if I play this video fully, there are our guys who've been hit by drones. They were lying there near to the vehicles, completely helpless. So it's too little, too late, this action. As I've told you, 1 month ago, there was thin connection. Now it's very robust. Russians deployed their drone operators in this region. So what's the use? How can you cope with those drones on those vehicles? Absolutely not possible. Yeah, sorry guys for starting this video from not so good news, because you might see some of the map update. Okay, Ukraine is up to cut Russians in Kupiansk or elsewhere, but in fact, if you check out the situation on the ground, it's completely different. Well, I just hope that there will be less mistakes done by Ukrainian army, because the price for it is just enormous, human lives. Yeah, I understand that there are losses as in every war, but this particular one was just the useless waste. Well guys, let's continue with some of the good news. Oh, our favorite drone compilations from Crimea. This is the Neba-U radar that was hit by Ukrainian military intelligence drone. Nice job, guys. Awesome. And this is the Buk system, yeah, Buk M3, also hidden somewhere in Crimea in a local tree line. Some of the missiles on the top, no go. And what is next? Oh, one more radar Neba-U. This is a very expensive thing, and it's already burning. Awesome job done by our Ukrainian defenders. Ukrainian drones operate from the drone boats. That is how it's usually done, and Definitely, I can see this is the Neba-U system. It got huge fire. A Ukrainian military intelligence with Budanov in charge really nails it hard. It's been a while since they posted. I haven't seen those kind of the videos this month. It's the first time, but I'm glad that they keep coming. At least we have some turn response even in Crimea. One of those raiders was destroyed in Jankoy airport of Crimea. Very nice, because it's the main supply hub for Russians. I mean, it's the railroad connection, and also Russia has military base, airfield. What an interesting image from the Kursk Oblast, Russian Federation. This region is bordering Ukrainian Sumy Oblast, and it seems like Ukraine definitely nails the Russian logistics out there. Our drone operators operate far behind the front lines. The video is presented to us by Spilnota Sternenko, and Sternenko himself, who is a well-known Ukrainian volunteer connected to the drone supplies for Ukrainian army. Outstanding video. I'll share it on my Telegram. You may find the link in the video description just below. So this is some sort of the compilation of the strikes. So yeah, this is all-terrain vehicle, I guess. Yeah, still Russia cannot reach that level of the drone usage compared to Ukrainian army, even though Ukraine has way less resources. So our guys in Sumy are successful because of the strikes on Russian logistics. Russians simply cannot supply their army normally. And one more video from Kursk. This is the checkpoint of the Russian army, some of the construction building, and it was hit by the drone, you can see it. Also, the nearby vehicle was chased and hit. And this is one more bordering region of the Russian Federation, Belgorod Oblast. This is the Russian electrical substation responsible for this entire southern region of Belgorod. And as you may see, lots of the FPV drones hit this facility. It means that Russians will not have electricity out there any longer, and they need electricity not just for civilians but also for military. As we know, Russia targets Ukrainian energy facilities, so Ukraine has the right to respond in the same way. Yeah, it is still not happening in the Moscow region, but who knows, we'll see. This winter could be interesting for Russia. Well, for Ukraine it will be difficult, it is already understandable. Experts say that it could be the worst winter for Ukraine since the start of the war, because Russia hits lots of the energy infrastructure, but we'll see. Hopefully there will be support from our European colleagues. It is very, very crucial, especially nowadays. But for Russia it could be also very, very bad. That's why Putin calls up reserves to protect Russia from Ukraine's drones. We have this article from Bloomberg, and definitely Putin is looking for extra army men to protect facilities with something. I just wonder what they can potentially use against the Ukrainian drones. Well, Russia is in lack of the air defense systems, even though Russia is the country that produces those quite massively, but because Russia uses them on the front lines and to protect Putin's palace, they're after all not enough to put in every refinery facility or oil storage or military base. So I just wonder how those army men may solve the problem with what they are capable to shut down Ukrainian drones, because they're flying quite fast with Kalashnikovs. Well, it might happen just occasionally. I mean, this is not the effective way how the air defense systems operate. You need Panzer 1S, definitely kind of effective system of the Russian Federation, but with army men, I don't see the solution, honestly. Well, maybe as already mentioned on this channel, Russia is looking for a solution to put extra nets on some sort of the balloons and put in front of those refineries, but it's not the immediate solution. They need maybe even years to practice it, to make those balloons and nets. And knowing the result of the Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian refineries, for the last couple of months Russia lost how many? 40% of refineries? It means that Russia doesn't have lots of the time to secure those kind of the facilities. And mobilizing army men for protection, well, maybe it's the excuse to mobilize Russians in general to join the Russian army, because I know personally that Russians receive special conscription orders to go and cross-check their data in military units, and sometimes they're taken for the army. So we'll see, because logically I don't understand why they need extra army men for those facilities. Also, yesterday I reported about the strike on the fourth largest oil refinery facility in Russia. It is close to Ryazan city. Well, today we have the confirmation that facility is completely no-go. It stopped processing of oil, and no one knows when it's going to renew the fuel production. Yeah, looking at everything of that and what is happening on the front lines, Ukrainian drone sanctions deep inside Russia, it seems like Putin is unable to handle the current situation and he's just flowing with the flow of this war. And I'm sure that Putin is actually scared about the current situation because how he would explain all of those million losses for Russians without reaching the goals of the special military operation. So-called special military operation, so he decides to continue, but little by little his economy shrinks. It's struggling. Russia is just this big country with economy inertia, so it will last for some time, for some years even. But the destiny for Russia, well, guys, it is interesting. I guess it's gonna be disintegration from inside, and I'm gonna make updates about update on Russia, yeah, on situation. Then there will be the war between some of the regions of the Russian Federation, maybe Northern Caucasus, Moscovia, Udmurtia, Buryatia, and so on. I'm sure that it's gonna be like that. It's just imminent, and Putin makes it to happen sooner with this war. Now here's the video from a Ryazan refinery facility that was hit yesterday. Just a single drone strike was enough for facility to completely halt its operation. And this is the particular refinery from the close perspective. Plus, United States has applied sanctions on Russian Federation, so there is a big trouble for Russia. And Russia tries to resolve the issue at least with sanctions. That's why they sent this guy to New York, to United States of America. His surname is Dmitriev, and he is basically in charge of the economy wing of the Russian negotiation group. He is Putin's close friend, and he's already been deployed to United States, which means that Russia really takes the sanctions seriously. Here is already a video of him in New York. So he accuses Ukraine that Ukraine doesn't want to negotiate or extends the time, he says. Well, I don't want to translate this bullshit. I can explain what he mentions here. He says that Ukraine is breaking everything, all of the negotiation process, under supervision of the forces in Europe, UK, and other countries. He said that the aim of those forces is to crush the relations between United States and Russia, and his goal is to deliver this message to Donald Trump's administration. And I would say, judging on the history, they have pretty much high chance to deliver it properly and brainwash Donald Trump once again. He likes to be brainwashed, that's the only reason. By the way, he will meet with a special envoy of Donald Trump, Witkoff, and we know who Witkoff really is. He thinks that the shit show Russia conducted in occupied regions of Ukraine is legitimate referendum, and Ukraine simply should give up those territories because Putin wants it to happen. Well, not in this universe, but for Russia, it's better to release those sanctions, and they'll do everything for it, including kissing Trump and Witkoff in the most smelly places. So tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, we're gonna see the official response from the White House relative to the sanctions on Russia. For now, those been introduced because Rubio spoke with Lavrov and stated that Russia is not willing to make any sort of the peace and at least stop the war at the current front line. No, Russia wants to continue. Well, like a variant, if Trump really gets brainwashed, he might do some of the exclusions for some of the refineries, some of the companies of Russia, including daughter companies of Lukoil, so to ease the sanctions, but not officially. The United States already did it before some of the exclusions were introduced. That's probably the case Russians want to speak about. So for Donald Trump to keep his face, okay, I introduce sanctions on Russia, and for Russia to be able to trade more or less freely with their oil towards China, government companies, and elsewhere. We'll see. I guess Donald Trump might agree on those exceptions. I wouldn't be surprised, at least. Jabahat Orban, in his interview to Hungarian media, said that they will try to circumnavigate those sanctions applied by United States of America on Russian oil because it is the interest of Hungary. So we have really a traitor within the European Union and NATO. Hungary. But it's not forever because Orban and his party will lose the elections next year. I'm sure about it because the rating of the opposition party TISA is higher, way higher than Orban's Fidesz. What are they doing, those Russians? Oh, they're honoring the losses with the Russian Z tank. Where is it happening? Ah, there are some of the employees of the military factory who lost their lives because of the Ukrainian drone strike. And this is the facility they were working at, Zavod Plasmas, the factory which was producing some of the components for the Russian munition. Wow. And if you look closer, definitely this is the munition. This is the munition over here, yeah. Firefighter MCS Россия, and here we go. One more piece of munition. So maybe after all, it's not a surprise if you work for the Russian military facility. Expect Flamingo, because maybe it was the one, or maybe not only one, judging on the situation. Usually after the drone strikes, it's more or less a single construction, but here it was flat-lined, everything there. Kind of unusual destruction. Russians reported about the life losses of more than 10 people. All of them were working in this very peaceful facility. And again, you see the attitude. Russians with their Z symbolics, they are in sorrow for the life losses of the war criminals, definitely, because those employees were producing something to be used against other nation in other country, but Russians, they simply don't care. Do you think that they are in their mind may connect why it happened? Absolutely not. They do not understand why they suffer because of the Ukrainian drone strikes. I'm sure that most of the Russians, they do not understand that. Unfortunately, yeah, Putin is very lucky with those zombies. Alright, the situation in Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is getting way better. It was already connected to robust electrical supplyment, so there is no risk of the further blackouts happening in the station. The diesel generators, they did their best to supply the station for more than 1 month, I guess. It was a really tricky situation. Russians put everyone at risk, and the aim was to connect one more power line to the station to supply occupied regions of Ukraine and the Russian Federation itself. Well, luckily now it is stable. And my friends, thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon and also on membership of the channel. The link for my Patreon is in the video description just below. And as for membership, you may press somewhere button join to join the channel if you really want to support me, and if you have this opportunity. Because of your support, I'm capable to film more videos every day for you. You make this content really possible. So thank you for you very, very much. And my friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.